Hello, welcome to Laughing Dragon Inn in our Doctor Who creation stream. We are playing Doctors and Daleks, the 5e Doctor Who game from. Oh no, I lost the thing. I'm unprepared.
Oh no. Panic.
It's from Cubicle 7.
From Cubicle 7 Games. Yes, thank you, Andy.
You're welcome.
Uh, so, yeah, that's us. I'm not used to doing the intro, but as you can see, I am the GM for this certain game. And I think the best thing for me to do is to stop talking. So I'm going to ask everybody just to go around and talk about how they know Doctor Who. I know some of the people might not know anything about Doctor Who, but that's okay too. But let's start with Andy.
Hello, I'm Andy. I saw Tom Baker Doctor Who as a kid. It was on PBS or something a lot in my area, so I watched that. Fairly infrequently. I have my Tom Baker scarf on. I like Tom Baker. And then when the relaunch happened, I watched all through. I watched all of Tenet. I think I went back to watch Eccleston, all through Smith, and then I kind of fell off with Capaldi. But I've watched a few episodes since then, and I plan on going back and rewatching everything since the reboot. And a bunch of clips. I like watching clips. I like a bunch of the Doctors. I like the third Doctor in particular. I like the fourth Doctor, 10th Doctor, 11th Doctor. I like a lot of the Doctors. It's a fun show full of fun people, and I like it. I like the sci-fi-ness of it, and I like the cheesiness of it. Like the intentional cheesiness sometimes. Lean into it.
And let's go with Soup.
Yeah, I'm kind of about the same. I was really into it during the Tennant and Smith runs there. I think I went back and watched at least like the end of Eccleston's run, but gosh, it's been since college. So it's been a hot minute. But yeah, similarly kind of fell off around the same time, about the time that Capaldi was coming on. And yeah, it just kind of dropped out of my life until a little bit recently, when I was working at the local comic book store. We had a couple of customers that came in that would kind of catch me up on some of the latest goings-ons. There was one woman in particular that would come in and get her, like, I think it was like a monthly or bi-monthly Who magazine. And then she also just had like a general, like, please hold any like Who comics or anything coming out for her. So she would always kind of give me the rundown whenever she came in. So yeah, I also super enjoy the silly sci-fi-ness of it. I was recently going back and watching some of the Tenet episodes, and it was just like, oh man, this show is so good. Like, I do kind of miss watching it, because yeah, like me and my spouse now and my brother used to keep up with it all together weekly during the Smith episodes. So yeah, I kind of miss that.
And then last but not least, Garrett. I don't know where you are.
Oh,
I
I just got an invite to this thing. I don't even know these people, and I was told there were free hors d'oeuvres, and obviously there's not. So
It's BYOHD. Is that
I
cool?
think I'm being
Yeah.
I think I'm being held against my will. Maybe a little bit. So if any of you can call an emergency number. Um, no, I've seen maybe half episodes of Doctor Who a handful of times, and I'm learning about all of the bad relationships that people have on this show, which makes me want to go watch it even more. So
You should not model your life after Doctor Who.
No.
that's what I'm learning.
It's a stark warning.
I've crossed out 6 character concepts already because of just listening and going, "Oh, that is a bad thing." Oh, okay.
Cool. I guess I'll say a little bit about where I'm coming from. Like, I have very vivid memories of the Eighth Doctor movie, which I think I watched by accident when I was like 4, because that's the American one, and that was on network TV, because this is before I had cable.
Mm.
I don't remember much of it. I may have thought it was a X-Files episode and was very confused when Mulder and Scully didn't show up. And then it was gone from TV forever until I saw it like on an extended movie channel, like after I started getting into regular Doctor Who, which is around like the David Tennant Smith era, like everybody else. And I went back and watched, starting from Eccleston, and I went back even further and started watching like a lot of the old Doctors. And I started playing for audio adventures and miscellaneous comic books, so I am not an expert, but I do know a lot about this silly 1960s sci-fi show.
I forgot I had seen the movie also, probably on network television, and remember thinking, like, I don't understand any of this.
It's a weird movie.
It's very odd, but I remember vividly his regeneration. Like,
I remember that too. That was the thing that like seared into my mind, is like him silhouetted in like this freezer coming out like Jesus, and I'm like, what is this? And I think I got scared and turned it off because I don't remember anything about the last half of it.
It's pretty intense. Like, for if you're like because I was probably like 8 or whatever watching it and remember going like, what is this? Like, why he's breathe, like, because I remember very vividly like the cold breath kind of thing, and then he's screaming, "Who am I?" Just like, I don't know.
And I remember there was like a not Will Sasso as like a hospital attendant that I thought he killed, but it's like, no, he just fainted because some dude just walked out of a freezer.
Yeah. And the 7th Doctor is murdered in a gangland shooting at the start of the movie. It's like, what is this?
People say it's bad, and it's like, no, it's not. It's great. But I might be biased because I'm American.
I was watching some clips of it earlier in preparation of this, and I was just kind of like, I need to rewatch this movie. I don't think it's as bad as people say. I was thinking the same thing. I don't think this is as bad as people say it is. This is kind of weird and intense.
It's just, it had the bad. I think the bad thing about it was on at the same time as Babylon 5, and you can't split your audience like that.
It's just a bad move.
Yeah.
Bad marketing.
Bad marketing indeed. And it's like, it's Babylon 5, so it's like, it already had a couple of seasons under its belt. And you kind of had to watch it, because you didn't have TiVo back in the day. You had to watch everything first run.
That's what I was thinking about whenever, because me and Andy were talking about this, and I was like, oh man, when I was watching it, it was when streaming was still like super new. So like they had the Eccleston episodes and the Tennant episodes on Netflix, but the Smith episodes, if you didn't catch them live, it was months, like before you would see them, and it was like a real pain to like track them down.
Back when Netflix / Blockbuster, you would still order DVDs. I would order the show DVDs as they came out.
I bought all the show DVDs at BJ's, or at least up until the season 6, because season 7 they split into 2. So they split the DVDs up. So you had the first part of season 7, and then you had to buy a Christmas special, and then you buy part 2 of season 7. I'm like, I don't like this anyway, so I just stopped buying the DVDs.
I just searched. There's 862 episodes purportedly.
Yes.
Yeah.
It is the...
You're gonna have to You're gonna have to start watching it, Garrett, and then
Yep.
in
Oh
59
my
years,
God.
we'll come back and do like the first episode.
But then there's going to be more since then, so you're never going to get caught up. Also, there are lost episodes that the BBC just
Yeah.
taped over. So those are just you got to read a synopsis of those or watch weird fan animations.
Or just watch like the weird ones where people like recorded it like on cassette, so you could listen to the cassettes and not have any pictures or anything. You just hear ambient noises.
Yeah, it's like the world's worst radio play. No one's explaining anything.
Somebody doing the dishes in the background. It's fine.
Mom, I'm watching Doctor Who.
Yes, I want Hot Pockets.
And I think, yeah, that'll bring us into me explaining what exactly the show is about. So Doctor Who is about the guy, Doctor Who travels through time and space, solving mysteries, fighting for justice, generally being a nuisance and just, making messes all over the place. One of the things it is, he is also, his species is a Time Lord, which is where you guys come in. Because for Doctors and Daleks, the 5e game by Cubicle 7, you get to play as, they have a character options where you get to choose your own species, and one of those species is Time Lord. And I'm not gonna lie, it's kind of silly, because the Time Lord page is at least a good full page more than the rest of this, than the rest of the character options, because, they're Time Lords. They're basically worse versions of Star Trek's Vulcans. They are just like the absolute worst in terms of being like the world's like they're this ancient great civilization that somehow creates all these, somewhat evil things, but they're totally awesome, and the Doctor totally misses them, but also them coming back is actually a bad thing, and you don't want to talk to them. So it's just like, yeah, it's like every worst sort of impulse for like highly technologically advanced super species, and all the best ones are basically either just incompetent bureaucrats, and then it gets worse from there. Like, you wish you had the incompetent bureaucrats on your side.
Kind of like the Saiyans or the Viltrumites, like, except for not like super strong.
Yeah, it's just like,
Let me go for an Nisha reference. They're the Kaluans from Legion of Superheroes, Brainiac species, where they're just like, individually, we're all like 10th level intellects. All of planet Earth put together is a 3rd level intellect. We're just better than you.
and they damn well prove it. It's also the fact that, I forget who brought it up, but someone brought it up on Twitter. It's like, so the Time Lords have a character called Rassilon, who is who's billed as this, like, great, great intellect, basically creator of Time Lord society. And then you actually start to, like, list off, like, all the things he has going for him, and it's like, oh, wait, this guy I don't think is good, because, the first time we really sort of meet him, we don't actually meet him, we, like, go to, it's the 50th, not the 50th, the 20th anniversary special, where we find out that Rassilon has this big, giant death pit, and basically, it's like he would chuck a bunch of people into it, and they would fight over, because if they got to the end of the death pit, there would be like a prize for immortality. So the Doctor and his friends have to travel down to the death pit to stop. I think it's either the Master, Master, Cybermen, like all sorts of baddies, from getting to Rassilon's tomb to get immortality. And they get to the tomb, and the villain's revealed, and someone gets immortality. But it turns out immortality is him, Rassilon, or his spirit, or his like data ghost, or whatever they, whatever weird sciencey nonsense they put over ghost in Doctor Who, turning the main villain of the story, into a statue, and that was his immortality. And it's like, oh, okay.
So yeah,
And
Rassilon is a Dungeons and Dragons villain.
Yes. In fact, a lot of Doctor Who could just be a very extended, somewhat off the rails Dungeons and Dragons campaign.
They run a lot more.
This.
But yeah.
Yeah.
What was I gonna say? Oh, but the ghost thing reminded me. One of the other things I love about Doctor Who is just like it's a werewolf, but we're gonna have a weird science fiction explanation for what you think werewolves are, or vampires, or whatever. And also, the royal family are werewolves. It's Doctor Who canon.
Yep.
Makes
And
sense.
so
Think about it.
It does make sense.
it does. And there's also a lot of weird stuff going on. Like, one of the things that just happens in the Doctor Who episode, it's actually a Tom Baker episode where he is tasked by the Time Lords, CIA, the Celestial Intervention Agency, is tasked with going to, the Doctor and friends are tasked with going to stop the creation of the Daleks. So they are basically forcing him to go back in time in one of the best stories ever. It's called Genesis of the Daleks, to stop basically the creation of the Daleks, and that's where we get all this weird Dalek lore, where it's like we meet the creator, we see like how the Daleks like totally irradiated their planet, and then eventually the Doctor doesn't stop the creation of the Daleks because it's like, yeah, that's like one of their best villains.
Yeah.
So, no,
Also, it seems
that's fine.
wrong to
Yeah.
totally do that. So Garrett, as someone who doesn't really know it, do you know what Daleks look like? Please Google a Dalek. They're the scariest villains in Doctor Who, like kind of consistently, and they look like trash cans with a plunger attached to them.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So one of the half episodes that I've seen.
Yeah,
has
probably
Dalek.
had a Dalek in
Yeah.
it. Yep.
Yeah.
I
Probably
was
saying
like,
exterminate.
Exterminate. Eventually they can
Yeah.
fly. Stairs are a
Yeah.
problem with them for a while, but they eventually learn how to fly. Then they're scarier.
They have good machine learning algorithms in them, I think.
Debatable. I think it's just like there was one guy who was actually like who was like the thinker of the team, and the Daleks just killed him. So,
Huh.
but also, yeah. So the Time Lords, they're your great benevolent, techno wizard god kings who also have a lot of like big problems with like people messing with time and getting the way they want, as people with a lot of baggage issues and thinking they're gods tend to do. One of the things is that they produce what they call renegade Time Lords, which is one such as our favorite Time Lord, the Doctor, is. He's basically the Doctor is someone who was like, you know what? I'm good with this. I'm going to go off and do my own thing. And because of that, there's actually a lot more renegades to the Doctor than the Doctor. Such as another big fun Time Lord is the Master, who has spent 59 years trying to take over the universe unsuccessfully because he got mad at the Doctor one time, and now he has to kill the Doctor over and over again. As like they're just fighting about it.
He really holds a grudge.
Really holds a grudge. So, my idea for the stream would be all three of you, are playing Time Lords whose main job is going to be tracking down renegade Time Lords, or at least investigating what they get up to. Because as we find out, there are a lot of renegades, and no one's really keeping track of them, and they keep popping up and, making a mess and generally causing the universe to end every week or so. Depends on how many episodes they have during the season. But I will also open the floor if anyone would like to make an addendum to that sort of idea.
I just want to say that if we do that idea, then we should be the Bureau of Renegade Investigations when they're not good. So then we could be boring.
Wait, okay, Bureau of Renegade Investigations.
That are not good.
When they're not good. What are we doing with the W?
Yeah, you got an extra letter in there too.
I tried. Okay.
I will gladly write that down.
Time Lords do love their stupid acronyms.
Yeah, hence the Celestial Investigation Society,
Yes.
which I think was just a stupid joke someone made. That's
Certainly, yeah. Unit, TARDIS. Torchwood's not an acronym, no, because Torchwood's named after the place where it is.
Yeah, the last name of the family.
But TARDIS, time and relative to
Dimensions in Space.
Dimensions in Space. I can't remember the unit. United Nations.
At first, it was United Nations Intelligence Task Force.
Okay.
They sort of shortened it to Unified Intelligence Task Force.
Okay.
It didn't make any sense but I also think the new series didn't want to have anything to do with the United Nations part.
Yeah.
Fair.
Okay, let's see. Hold on. Boring. Bureau.
I tried.
Operating. Renegade. Ing. I don't know. We'll think of something.
That are not good.
Not good. You did it, Cece. You really did it. No, I love that idea, Liz.
I can also say that you don't necessarily have to be Time Lords if you don't want to play Time Lords. I will gladly, because the first investigation I have, or at least the first adventure, if we get to the adventure part, which I doubt it, but would have you go to a place called the Land of Fiction, which is basically, well, it was an excuse for Doctor Who to use the BBC wardrobe to get a bunch of public domain characters in there, but it was basically a little tiny offshoot parallel universe where myth and legend become reality. So if you want to play a regular human who's just dropped into everything, you can do that. Or if you want to play a little robot dog, Andy.
Look. I would love to be a canine type character. But I think if the kind of the whole pitch is the Time Lords thing, the chance to be a Time Lord is I don't think I could pass that up. Later if we do another thing, I'll be a stupid human who doesn't know what they're doing and is gawking at everything / or some sort of robot cat who doesn't care about what's happening. But no, I think I definitely want to be a Time Lord.
And an investigator Time Lord too.
I could be. I do. I like detectives. You could be the detective.
Especially since, again, Doctors and Daleks, the 5e game by Cubicle 7. Because
the name you've known all along.
Yes, the game I've known all along. Has since Time Lord is a species, you can pick whatever class you want because class and species are different things. So you can all be different classes of Time Lords, and you can all have your own various skills and things like that. Like if you want to be the most hoity-toity, sort of like aristocratic Time Lord, you can do that. They also have, if we want to look at, what is it? Species 28. Starting on page 28 and moving down. You can totally pick. You can either be like a regular Gallifreyan and just be like a regular guy, or you can because it has like a little paragraph at the end that says you can totally just because again you get a lot of cool additions for the Time Lords because you can also pick you have telepathy, which is always fun. Regeneration. You get a respiratory bypass, so you get just a whole bunch of bonuses to like holding your breath. You're vortex sensitive. But you can also play as a Gallifreyan where you can lose the telepathy and the vortex sensitivity, and you can take a feat. Which I would say, if you want to just switch things around, you can also just switch two things and then take a feat.
Okay.
Because I don't know about balance. Who cares? I'm not playing
You're a Time Lord. Who cares?
Yeah. Do you know how many made-up superpowers the Doctor has? That everybody pretends is like totally canonical.
Yeah. And sonic screwdrivers do whatever you want them to do.
Exactly.
Okay. Interesting.
Because so Doctors and Daleks is basically, it's Doctor Who 5e. So you do a lot of things the same way as 5e. So when you create your stats, you can either do point by, you can do the standard array, or you can do, you can just roll it out. If you guys want, since this is our first time, we could just take the standard array because you're all going to be Time Lords anyway. Or if you want to, because I don't know how to do point by when it's on like a sheet. I just have D&D Beyond do it for me all the time.
I used to know how to do it by hand, but yeah, no, D&D Beyond has spoiled me on I don't know how to do that anymore.
Yeah. Especially since you're all playing, if you're all playing Time Lords, you can also, because the ability score increase for Time Lords is you get to raise your ability score by 2, and then 2 ability scores by 1.
Broken.
And the thing about Time Lords is that intelligence, wisdom, and charisma scores have a maximum of 30.
Oh my god.
Instead of the usual 20.
I love it, but wow. Okay. Hold on. Let me see if someone has been nice. How the heck do I do homebrew? Where's homebrew on D&D Beyond? It's never been easier. Homebrew collection here. Let me see if someone has perhaps input.
Oh, see,
They might have.
probably a thing I should have checked, but oh well.
Because somebody put in at some point all of the Dragon Lord stuff, but I am not seeing. Races.
There might also just be a point by calculator, like.
Oh,
online.
I'm sure there is. Yeah, I'm not seeing a Time Lord on D&D Beyond, but. Let me see.
Point by calculator 5e.
Hello. Oh, there we go. Sorry.
Yeah. Ink. Maybe this.
Hold on, maybe I can.
Question mark.
But I'll explain a little more about Doctors and Daleks. So one of the other things about Doctors and Daleks is that you don't technically have hit points. You have what's called plot points. And that's a carryover from their other Doctor Who game, which is their sort of agnostic, you can just totally play this game, Doctor Who game. and plot points where it happens is that instead of like when you hit 0 for plot points, is that you don't technically die, or you have the choice to not die. Because plot points, because Doctors and Daleks introduced 2 new types called emotional damage and logical damage. Because the whole thing with Doctor Who is that the Doctor is very against killing.
Mm-hmm.
So the game, Doctors and Daleks, sort of take that into into its logical conclusions, where the point of the point of the game isn't to start murdering people. It's to have basically word battles, and you're basically trying to convince people to change their mind. It doesn't always work out like that. It very rarely does. But you're generally like they want you to Garrett. Totally undoing renegade time lords everywhere.
Yeah.
We're turtle.
Turtle. Oh,
Turtle.
that's cute.
Okay. I'm gonna write it down.
Sorry, Soup started it, first of all. If I can go on the record.
I did start it.
It looks like D&D Beyond has Time Lords, but none of them are this version. It's all people's homebrew Time Lords.
Figure this like the you can I think you can, I pre-ordered it, so I got the PDF version early. But I think you can download you can buy like the PDF version first, but the physical book isn't going to come until later, which is probably when people are going to like start playing it and all that.
Probably, yeah. And it's very new, right? Like it came out very recently. Like the PDF did. Okay.
What was I saying? So yeah, the point of the game isn't to go around murdering people left and right. It's sort of like solving a mystery. You like they replace spells. Like instead of casting spells, you cast quips, which is basically using your words and it's a very British game where it's like you have word battles and you're very quick-witted and all that. You fight with puns, which I think you would like, Garrett.
The Doctor is often telling like dad jokes and weird puns and stuff to off-put his enemies or console his companions.
It's a family
I don't know if
show.
I've ever told a pun that has consoled anybody, but maybe one day.
But has it angered your enemies?
Well, usually.
Something
Usually it angers everybody. It's an area effect.
So yeah, did we figure out how to do point buy here, or?
Yeah, Cece found a point buy calculator.
Cool.
Just in case we wanted to do that way.
Okay, well, you can all decide what you want to do. I don't really know. I don't really care. I mean, I don't know how to be a GM.
You're doing
It's like, this is fine.
You're doing great.
Yeah.
You're doing great. But no, yeah, standard letting people pick standard array or point buy. Either way.
Yeah, I mean, if you guys want to try to like roll for it and get all these weird numbers, that's cool too. Because like again, you're Time Lord, so having all 18s it's sort of expected.
Yeah. The Doctor's a Mary Sue. It's fine.
Yeah.
You go old school, just 3d6 straight down.
Oh. 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 rolling makes me very nervous.
Oh, all right.
I will do it, especially if the game calls for it, but I would prefer point buy. And I know I am alone, and I know I am in the minority in that. I always am surprised whenever there's like a poll, and it's just like we all do roll, and I'm just like I've always done point buy.
I think that it is interesting for maybe like a situation where like this where we're not very familiar with like the classes and stuff and are all kind of starting from the same like starting point where it's kind of like because I know a lot of people's argument for role is that it helps me kind of like establish the character without having something like predetermined.
Yeah, I mean I'll roll I like that argument. I'll roll. I'll do it if everybody else wants to.
Do you guys want to go through the classes first and see how they are?
Sure.
Or...
Yeah.
Roll.
Right. And then maybe we'll roll.
Sounds good.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
So, first up, you have the Charmer. And this is sort of your, I would say, bards or like charisma-based, charisma-based casters for 5e. You're charming. You maybe not the brightest bulb in the bunch, but you are. I'll just read the little description. Charmers enjoy verbally engaging with others, even hostile ones. They believe that they can talk their way through any situation and often offer themselves as the voice of the party, or at least the loudest one. They can cut deals with enemies that would otherwise kill, convince wary creatures that your group is on its side, and when the going gets tough, use their command of language to crumble the resolve of hostile enemies. So, you're basically you're a bard.
Yeah.
Yeah, because one of your tools is a musical instrument. So yeah, you're a bard. You get something called emotional appeal, which is one of your abilities. So you get to basically make very heartfelt speeches about love and friendship and all that fun stuff. You get to use quips, which is always fun. And then you have a couple archetypes. You have
Which are like subclasses.
Which are the subclasses, yes.
Right.
So you have the Agitator, which they give as Donna Noble as the sort of example of that. You have the Herald, which like the Agitator is sort of like the I guess battle bard, where you're just coming out of ready to fight and all that stuff. Then you have the Herald, who's more of a sort of leader type. You're gonna command everything. And you have the Muddler, who's more of like a bumbling sidekick type. So sort of like, I would say, there was a point in an episode of Doctor Who where David Tennant is like fiddling with some stuff and he's like pretending to be like sort of silly, or he's pretending not to know what's going on, and he accidentally like presses a whole bunch of buttons on a ship and decides that which actually in turn was actually him sort of pressing all like the self-destruct buttons. But presenting it as sort of like, oh, I did that by total accident. So that's sort of like the Muddler.
Oopsie poopsie.
Oops. I did that by mistake. And the next class up is the Empath, which is sort of your wisdom-based class. It's the you're a cleric. Like the literal picture for the Empath is Martha Jones. So you're a medic. You're the healer. Like, yeah, the thing, the play in Empath, if you want to heal your friends when they're harmed, Draw knowledge from practical experience. Encourage your companions with words of wisdom.
Yeah, just the cleric.
You're the cleric. I mean, it gives the one of your attributes would be a jack of all trades sort of thing, but that's like you're a cleric. Your main stat is wisdom. Cause yeah, the one of the and you have your subclasses. You have the elder, who is like your older guy who's seen the ways of the world and can tell you about have like a response to every situation, that kind of thing. And literally one of them, the next one is the physician. So, the doctor, the medic. And then you have the survivalist, which is the person who's like doomsday prepper, ready for any situation. He has all the DIY stuff, that kind of thing. And then the next on the list is the protector, which is, your fighter. You're not the fighter in a classic sense of, oh, you're gonna go rush the enemies and all that. You're basically just someone who will, be for their friends. You're physical, but you're not going to like go around murdering people.
Maybe more like the paladin.
Maybe like a paladin, yeah, but I don't think you get too many quips. And to be fair, one of your features at second level is an action surge. So
Oh yeah. You do have cantrip quips though.
you get cantrip. I think everybody technically gets cantrip.
Oh, okay.
Quips. You can't. It's like when you start going up into new classes, you can like you do some will have more levels to quips than others, but yeah, you get a second wind, you get accent surge, you have unarmored defense. You're a fighter.
Yeah.
You're just all around being a good dude. Because yeah, and your subclasses are the officer, which is sort of more of, again, a soldier type, but doesn't necessarily have to be. The next one is the warrior, or the sentinel, which is you may have a weapon or a sword, but you're very much in a more disciplined type of fighter. And the warrior, which they give as Leela, who was a Fourth Doctor companion, who was sort of this jungle savage that the Doctor met on a planet where it turned out that she was from a downed spacecraft of like human survivors who sort of just kind of regressed into a more primal and primitive form.
She's Space Tarzan.
Yes, he's basically Space Tarzan. And you can play them too, if you would like.
Be a Space Tarzan today.
Today. And the next one is the Stalwart, which I think is more of a paladin.
Okay, yeah. I could see that.
Because, yeah, they're just like you're just a real good guy. You came along, you don't mind. You may not be like the smartest or the bravest, but you're kind of there. You're the guy who takes everybody to the airport.
A regular Rory.
Yeah, basically you're Rory. In fact, there he is. He's one of the examples. He is
one of the pictures. Yeah, he's nice and big up there. That makes a lot of sense.
That makes a lot of sense.
Just
and
him
then you
serving lunch to a Solarian.
Yep. And then because so the subclasses for the Stalwart are the Defender, which is more of like an attack type of thing. That's more of your physical class. or your physical subclass. And the next one is the student, which means you are more of it's more sort of on the opposite side as the more mental one, where you're more of a inquisitive, like here that you're basically the person who gets involved into everything just by by being there. This is the random human that shows up for some reason. And then you have the next one is the explorer. You're eager to explore the universe. You're more of a proactive student. And then next on the list is the thinker, which I think is the last class. Yeah. And thinkers are basically your wizards.
No, there's a trickster afterwards.
Oh,
too.
there's a trickster.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, the thinker has like 4 pages, so
Yeah.
they're basically the wizard. So yeah, that's your scientists, your well, you don't have to. You're basically you're gonna go full in on the mental. You get all the quips, you get all the fights and all that.
So these are all based around basically one of the primary attributes, then, right?
Yes.
Yes.
Or that's what it looks like to me.
Yeah. So they gave you basically a big list of you want your attribute to be wisdom. Well, here's the wisdom class. You want your attribute to be
Mm-hmm.
intelligence. So, like you're picking.
Kind of make it easy.
Yeah. It's basically well, the book always talks about like finding your niche. Like what do you want to play in terms of personality and how do you want to contribute to the group? Because it's a very much a party oriented goal system where it's like the party survives.
Mm-hmm.
Cool.
Yeah. So the subclasses for the thinker are the boffin. So you're basically a researcher or an engineer. You're the sort of a builder. And then you have the next one is the computer. So you're the code breaker. Sort of like there's also a hacker subclass, but this is more of a you're just all in computers and all that. And then you have the detective, which is the detective. You're solving mysteries and getting to the bottom of things and all that. And then the last one is the trickster, which is your rogues. Because you gotta have a rogue. Oh, and look at that. You get a cunning action and a sneak attack, like a rogue would. Because then you can play the con artist, the criminal, the hacker. You know, all those great rogue subclasses.
Your classic rogue subclasses.
So, what would you got? Who wants to start off with what they think they want their character to be?
Sorry, I'm scrolling back up to the top. I want to see the chart. I want to see like the full chart again.
Oh, it's on page. Doo, doo, doo.
Oh, there we go. Okay, we got it. Okay. Cece, Garrett, any thoughts?
Any thoughts? Thoughts, suggestions?
Should we just roll?
Oh, how many is it? 8? 1, 2, 3, 6. I can count.
Yeah, you got 6
gonna-
classes.
Oh God. Cece, it sounds like you have a thought.
Yes.
I was gonna say I'm down for rolling if that's what we want to do.
No. If you have a thought, I'm just having a hard time picking between a couple different ones. I don't know where kind of I want to lean. So if you have a thought that can,
No, I'm gonna
do you
let the
wanna-
dice decide.
okay,
Because I honestly I kind of like all of them equal, so it would be really hard for me to pick.
I just want to say, and regular 5e, listen up. I love that each one has a different primary attribute. I love it.
Yes.
Constitution doesn't get enough love. Sorcerers should use Constitution. So I think that's really great and interesting.
So what you're saying is you want to be the stalwart.
You know I love a tank.
Go for it.
And it does use Constitution. I am thinking about it.
Honestly, if I were to pick, I would probably either go Charmer or Trickster.
Ooh.
Yeah, gosh. If I were to pick, don't make me choose things on my own. Maybe the empath or the protector. I would lean more towards.
And I'm
Okay.
looking at Stalwart or Thinker. This actually works.
Okay, we're getting somewhere.
Okay.
We're getting
Getting somewhere.
Good job, everybody.
So
That's teamwork. We're already
we all
doing
need to
it.
roll a
We're
D2.
out of time? We got no more time?
Go
Oh,
Turtle.
God.
All right. So yeah, why don't we talk it out? Like, what were you thinking for as sort of character-wise then? Like, if you're gonna pick the two, say, stick with your two main ones you're gonna try to pick, and then try to puzzle out like what your character would be in terms of that.
So one of the reasons why I was kind of leaning towards the empath is because I was reading the initial description of it, and it's like you intuitively understand human and or non-human nature. You're a font of wisdom for your companions, and kind of like you've seen it all before, that kind of stuff. And so I think that, like, especially if we're doing like Time Lord investigators, that makes sense to have somebody like that on the team. That it's like especially if you were like, oh well, the doctor, for example, always travels with a human companion. So I've studied humans so that I can understand what might draw the doctor to the humans or whatever. Or if there's, we could make up that, other renegade Time Lords are drawn to other types of things. And so I have to understand like all of these things about different species and stuff throughout the universe. So you need somebody like me on the team. So that was kind of an initial idea I had reading that description.
So I guess the question would be, do you want sort of someone who's more of like an absent-minded professor who's like some sort of either bigwig or like maybe not so bigwig at like the Time Lord University, or do you want to be like just someone else who's like the one psychologist that is on Gallifrey who like has actually studied and be like, hey, maybe we should actually find out why there's so many like renegade Time Lords hanging around.
Gallifrey
Should
is
try and puzzle this out.
Yeah, maybe we should put some of our non-existent money, because I don't think Time Lords have a currency system, into maybe mental health. Maybe we should stop pushing children in front of like this untempered schism, because that seems to be a problem.
no. I love the implication that Gallifrey has one therapist, and their job is to get people to come home, I guess. I don't know why they keep leaving. Can't be because we only have one therapist and their job isn't to talk to people. They're an FBI agent.
Got to do those mental health check-ins,
Yeah. It's one person for 4 billion people. That's fine.
Not stressed at all.
It's okay. How many people become Time Lords? I mean,
Yeah, I like that. I think I'm gonna roll with that.
One therapist.
I'll be the therapist.
The therapist.
Already got your title.
Yeah. All right, Garrett, Mr. New Guy, you're next. What were you thinking? Besides the other 6 you had to cross out.
Well, I was leaning into your description of Time Lords and their bad impulses and how they're arrogant. And so I thought, well, what if my character was just fit the mold, right? Perhaps was even a renegade once on their own, and that's the value that they bring to the group, is that they get being a renegade because that's their personality. And I thought either the charmer would be a way to go, because theoretically the charmer could still be doing it to some degree and maybe getting away from it because they're always talking their way out of it, or the trickster because they're obviously a criminal, or had been caught and maybe reformed to a certain degree. So that's where my mind was heading.
Oh, actually, yeah, those are really, really good. I guess the question I would ask you is like, do you want your character to be reformed, or is it this just like to go into the description? Is this your character more of a con artist who's just playing around, or are they like an actual like reformed? Oh wait, I gotta stop these guys, or are they a third thing you want to do?
No, it's probably more of the former. They're probably like just as much of a help as they are a nuisance.
I was going to say, Time Lords have weird punishments. This could be parole.
Yeah, kind of like how sometimes, if somebody hacks into something, then like the government will contact them and be like, "Oh, actually, we want you to work for us instead of serving time."
Yeah, yeah. I'm actually thinking maybe they're still a little bit on the edge, anti-heroish. Like they're only participating in this because it actually gets them out to be able to try to sneak in and do the things that they're trying to do without others knowing. Like maybe it's still a yet to be caught situation, but sure, they'll be helpful, right? Which is, I'm kind of leaning towards Charmer because of that. It's like, sure, just a good person around to help out until I don't.
And I would say go for it, Garrett.
I love it. I love both of these concepts.
All right, because it's your turn, Andy.
Okay, so looking at the stalwart, the student and the explorer, I feel like maybe overlap a little bit. Kind of my concepts of them would overlap a little too much with what Garrett's thinking. So let me look at the thinker. Because contrary to any character I've ever played on a D&D stream, I like smart characters in fiction. Like, I just like people who are smart. I don't know. Maybe that's shallow. I like it. I never play them because I think it's funner to play dopes. But, so I think maybe a thinker. And let me see, what are the thinker subclasses? What's a boffin? Is that British slang?
Yeah, it's a British slang for like a really smart person. Like
Okay.
the example they give is Liz Shaw, who was a third Doctor companion. She was Unit's sort of scientific advisor until the Doctor showed up.
Okay.
Yeah, because she like had like something like they say she had like 4 PhDs and she was like this expert in like all this weird alien stuff, and then like the Doctor showed up and she's like became his assistant.
Great.
And then she left after a season because she's like, yeah, I'm not doing anything here. See ya.
Okay, so maybe that. I'm going to save the computer for when I'm K9. I think I want to be the detective. I know. Surprise, surprise.
It does make sense.
Okay. Yeah, I think I want to be a detective. I like detectives. Okay.
That's really good.
No, but that's not a character concept. That's just the thing I want to be.
Okay, what's your character concept?
I was so proud of myself for having made a decision. I was like, done and dusted.
Nailed it,
What
Andy.
game are we playing next?
I think from sort of playing off of both of the previous concepts, I think it's like purely from an intellectual standpoint, like logically, why would you want to leave? Like you can do all the research you want here. You can go anywhere in time and space, like from the safety of Gallifrey, and like all of the best minds are here. So it's kind of like what kind of like almost like is there something wrong with the people, or like is it like are they like I always wanted, and this is going back to the Kaluans from earlier. I always wanted like Brainiac 5 to be considered like kind of an idiot on his homeworld, because why else would he hang out with the Legion of Superheroes? Like I always wanted him to go back and then be like, "Oh, are you doing like 8th level math? Oh, that's so cute, Brainiac." But like they always go back and he's the smartest, and I'm like, that's not fun. I kind of want him to be like, so like I don't know, like maybe like I have like these like weird theories about like, well, it's because they can't cut it here. So then like if you find someone like the Doctor who is, you know, pretty smart, like is usually very, very smart, not necessarily smarter than other Time Lords, but it's just kind of like that doesn't fit my theorem, so now I have to rework it. And it's just I'm maybe trying to find like the perfect like kind of Criminal Minds esque of like, I've created a profile for the people who leave, and now yeah, like kind of like a renegade profiler, like, but now they don't fit the profile, so now I have to rework the whole profile. Just erasing the chalkboard constantly.
You have one of those, what was it, Charlie Day pin boards with all the rare red strings attached to it.
Who is Pepe Sylvia?
I dig it.
Yeah.
So you're the pin boarder.
I'm the pin boarder. Yes. Hold on, I have a whole list of names.
Yeah, but are they better than the pin boarder?
No, I went to Wikipedia earlier. I have the foreman, the monarch, the professor, the senator, the counselor, the speaker, the minister, the envoy, the duke, the count, the marquis. I always liked the marquis, which as a kid I had only ever read, so I thought it was marquis. Viscount, baron, advocate, abbot, dean, officer, scout, wizard, citizen, comrade, docent, because docent's a fun word, warden, adept, bard, steward, prospector, judge, conductor, engineer, tailor. Those are all my names. It's all of them. Just smush them together.
Officer would kind of make sense.
Did you just make an acronym? Andy?
Yeah, it's the and so on. You get the idea. Yeah, so I'll. But like, yeah, because I've never quite dug the idea that like, and I know this is not always true, but like, and I think it's a Stephen Moffat like fan theory that he forced into being a real theory, is that like, like humans get the word for doctor from the Doctor. It's just like,
yeah, that's definitely a Stephen Moffat
yeah,
thing. Like Once you start watching Doctor Who, you realize, especially a lot of New Who, is just a lot of super fans like sticking their own personal pet theories into the show and making them canon.
Okay,
Like,
so like I've never dug that because then it's also like, okay, but like, what about Time Lords who don't really affect human history all that much? So do we get the word the Master from the Master, the dude who constantly fails to take over the world? Why would he be the Master? He clearly gave himself that name.
Yeah.
So, okay. But we could also just have weird sci-fi names like Romana or Theta.
I think there's another Time Lord called Narvin in like the extended universe. So silly sci-fi names are a-okay.
Yeah, Rassilon, who's sometimes Timothy Dalton, I think.
Yeah, he's sometimes Timothy Dalton. He's sometimes some other British character actor. Sometimes he's like the most powerful evil super being in the world. Sometimes he's just a guy that the Doctor like looks at.
Sometimes he's just Timothy Dalton.
Yeah.
And he goes, "I'm actor Timothy Dalton." Let me think. Of that list,
I've got my name.
oh, what's your name? CC,
What's
do
your name, Soup?
The therapist.
Oh, right.
Garrett, do you have a name?
I don't know yet. I'm trying to think of more background of a character has gotten themselves into.
Well, lucky for you, Garrett, the next thing on our list is going to be looking at backgrounds.
Segue.
Segue. Because yeah,
Oh,
there's
that's
a
your
whole lot
name, Segway?
of segue.
Could be.
I was going to say, if you wanted to be like, because the other thing is like, eventually the master becomes the mistress, and she goes by Missy, which, you know, so you could always take a word, so like, you know, for instance, renegade, and you could just be Ren.
Engade.
Or Egade.
That's what I was thinking for mine. It was like, well, Thera kind of sounds like a name,
Yeah.
or it could be pissed.
Both are valid.
I'm all out of Thera, and I'm only pissed.
Though I will say there is a very handy dandy list of where they have spells as quips, where they very nicely translated all their quips into spells.
Mm-hmm.
So you have one called Crosshairs, which is Hunter's Mark. That's a first level quip or spell. So it does tell you, like, when you fill out this whole thing, it does do a good job of like, this is from 5e. This is how it is now. In fact, one of the pages for the Game Master was like, okay, so you need this book, a set of dice, and probably the standard edition of 5e rules. I'm like, well, okay. Just, you know, have all of 5th edition ready to go. You're going to be fine.
It's just a quick 4-book buy-in. It's fine.
They can only reference the SRD. That's all free on the internet.
Yeah.
But yeah, don't make any don't try to do anything too great. Just don't go above like 5th level. Though one of the other things I find funny is that the 2-page spread for backgrounds has like the little menagerie right there has like a photo of the guy who played Richard Nixon in one of the episodes pointing at you.
Oh, yeah.
That's like, oh yeah, that's the other thing about Doctor Who. It's like, oh, for a show that prides itself on going anywhere in time and space, it doesn't really get history very well.
Sometimes Agatha Christie is attacked by giant bees. I don't know what about that's historically inaccurate.
Sometimes they portray Richard Nixon one of America's greatest war criminals as just, a guy who's there. He's also in this episode.
If I remember correctly, his American accent was also very bad.
He sort of looked like, well, he sort of vaguely looked like Nixon, but he was also like, oh, he doesn't sound like Nixon.
Yeah, isn't that the guy from Downton Abbey?
Hold on.
I think he.
There's a couple of people from Downton Abbey and Doctor Who.
Yeah, I'm not surprised that
Hold on,
there
let me
would be
Google-
some.
Let me Google this guy's real name. Stuart Milligan. It doesn't. It seems like he's most known for a show called Jonathan Creek,
Oh, okay.
which he was in for 12 years, but was only in 15 episodes.
British shows.
Okay.
One episode per season.
Yeah, it seems like he's just he was the president in Wonder Woman 84. That's weird. Stop like this British guy, the president. He can't do an American accent. I never saw Wonder Woman 84.
I saw it. I don't remember him being in it, but then again, I don't remember much about it except for Pedro Pascal being way too good for this movie as Max Lord.
All I know is that Wonder Woman was laying low, except everyone heard her voice and she talked to everybody at once or something, and there was a magic rock. But superheroes didn't exist before Superman. The DCEU makes a lot of sense. I'm sorry, the DCU.
It's probably fine.
It's probably fine.
I'm making a face. We're looking at backgrounds.
Yes, we're looking at backgrounds. So, again, backgrounds in 5e, you pick a background, you get a whole bunch of stuff with it. Kind of like this, where you can choose from everything here. You can be an academic, you could be an athlete, a celebrity, every person, hacker, hiker, investigator, manager, physician, pilot, scientist, soldier, technician, thief, time traveler, youth. And you guys can pick anything from the list. You don't all have to be time travelers. We're not pulling our Dragon Lords again.
Time Lords, Dragon Lords, same thing.
Basically.
Pretty much. My character's name is Acastus, and just a real dick.
Oh man, this guy again.
No, I got my background. I'm good.
What's your
Oh.
I
background?
got it.
What is it?
Celebrity.
Oh yeah.
Celebrity chef.
Oh.
Oh.
Hear me out. So this Time Lord likes to go through space and time to find the next best ingredients for their dishes, whether that's a sentient being or otherwise.
You are better than everybody.
That's
yeah.
right.
They're
Little human makes everything better.
there
Huh?
are Garrett, you're
Nailed
laughing, but there are species of like cannibals in Doctor Who.
Oh, yeah.
Perfect. I bet you they taste good too.
So you're real Gordon Ramsay, is what you're saying?
Gordon.
That's your name?
Gordo. I also like, I mean, I think it would be so funny if throughout history it turns out like Julia Child and Gordon Ramsay and whatever are all the same Time Lord. Like,
Oh my god, yes. Ah, that's great.
So yeah, Garrett, you have homework where you have to look up famous celebrity chefs
and they just
throughout
can't.
history.
Well, I guess they could overlap because then it's just a different
Just a different incarnation.
regeneration, and then they just decided to go back in time. And Betty Crocker, Snoop Dogg, famous chefs throughout history.
Yep, all the same Time Lord.
Hey, I'm not gonna lie. The show where Snoop Dogg and Martha Stewart host like a cooking competition is actually really good.
They're Snoop Dogg's just great. He has a children's album now. He's the best.
Yeah.
He was on trial for murder once.
Oh.
Okay, so I mean, maybe this is hack, but I think I'm going to pick academic.
Oh, your wizard sage is ready to go, Andy.
I'm a variant human. I took a feat. I took Warcaster. I hope that's cool.
What were you looking at, Soup?
Gosh. um. I'm kind of thinking. Well, I mean, physician and scientist kind of both seem like the obvious choice. Although I think it's interesting that as an empath that you could be a subclass physician with the background of physician also. Like some of these like hacker and stuff it's like that's a subclass and also a background. So I think that that's kind of interesting.
I guess, yeah, like the original game, like you, instead of like picking a class and all that, you basically had it had story points where you basically just bought into like each like little feat or little description of like subclasses and all that. You just bought with story points. So if you wanted, to be a hacker, you bought 2 story points. And you spent 2 story points and you got that, and it went down a list of like every Doctor Who companion like got a little blurb of like their personality trait, and you could buy that. And then anything you didn't buy went into your plot points, I think. I don't know. That always confused me. That was like the one of the thing where I was like, oh, good, a 5e version. I know that.
Oh, yeah, no. Oh, I can't remember which. There's another game where it's just like you transfer your character points into something else, into another currency. I'm like, oh, this is why there's a conversion rate. Don't make me do
this
math.
economy.
Like, yeah, it's like each, because in the original game, like they had their own little special, like the species were actually the backgrounds, and you basically picked a background, and each background got certain number of story types. Like Time Lords had like all the story points, and everybody else had like 5 or 6. And then you bought like certain things, and then anything that you didn't buy became plot points. But I think you also had like a starting plot point or something like that, or plot points were a lot more, because I don't think they had hit points or anything to gauge like health in the original game. So your plot points were a lot more a get out of jail free card that you could play once in a while. You also like, the GM, if they liked the scene you did, you could also get plot points. You could spend plot points, and then you would regenerate plot points whenever the GM would let you.
So they're kind of more like inspiration.
Yeah, they're more like inspiration.
Okay.
You could also always have no plot points, or someone could give you their plot points if they had stuff left over. Okay. But that confused me the first time I read it, so I'm like, oh, I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah, it's like one of those...
You're throwing a lot of numbers at me right now.
Yeah, like those social currency games that they probably make much more sense if you can watch if you can watch an example of play. Then, yeah, sometimes reading like Fate or Fudge or whatever, I'm just like, I don't understand what any of this means. But if you show it to me, I'm like, okay, I get this now. But it's so... I've
played Fate, and it is kind of... Once you get into it, it all makes sense. But yeah, just kind of looking at it, it's a lot. Yeah, I think I'm kind of leaning physician. And yeah, if we ever get into... I don't know what level we're going to be making these characters at, but if we do get to choose a class, I think I might choose a subclass other than physician. So I'm kind of thinking of modeling my character a little bit after Dr. Chakwas from Mass Effect. So
Okay.
it feels very similar.
Yeah. I was thinking of starting you guys at level like maybe 2, 3 whenever everybody gets their sunglasses, just so we can just start playing and
Explore
everyone
that.
gets their stuff. Yeah.
I don't know why I
Yeah.
thought you were going to say level like 18. Just get everything you want. It's like, oh.
I mean, I'm giving you the most broken species
Yeah, we all get to
in
be
the
Time
game.
Lords.
You all get to be
Yeah.
Time Lords. You can do whatever you want.
I go back in time and make sure that I know the answer. That's
Which
called.
you should tell me, because I'm not going to make any answer. Like, I'm just going to present you guys with a problem and you figure it out. It's how I do all my games.
That's a GM pro strat though. Is you don't figure out the answer because then when they present you a clever answer, you're not like, well, that's not the way I wanted you to do it. It's okay, you did it. Except for riddles. Riddles should probably have a set answer.
Yeah. Hey, though I never get riddles, so I'm never doing riddles.
Yeah.
Telling you right now, warning you,
No riddles.
no riddles.
So actually, I'm changing my character concept to the Riddler. No.
Oh, no.
I'm the question mark killer.
First adventure. Oh, hey, here's Batman. He's gonna just send you to jail. Sorry, Riddler.
Damn it. Knew he was a Time Lord.
No.
Well, yeah, didn't you see the Batman?
He's been portrayed by many different actors. Shoots himself with adrenaline. Things the Doctor does. Doesn't kill. There we go.
There you
Knocks
go.
on doors. Is polite.
All right, so we have chef, physician. Andy, did you pick us up last?
Detective.
Oh, detective.
Yes.
But did you pick a background?
Academic.
Oh, yeah. Sorry.
No, it's
I
okay.
didn't.
I-
I have to pick this up.
I could have picked investigator. Ah, crap. Should I be investigator? I didn't see that. No, I think I do like academic because as I kind of described it, I think it's kind of coming from this academic place. I should be writing this down. Okay, hold on.
Yeah, I should be writing things down, but I'm not.
You can always re-listen. That's what I do.
I mean, I would have to mute myself when I'm talking, but yeah.
Think three. Time Lord.
My only problem with, or not my only problem, but one of my big problems with the 5e character sheet is they put concept up in like the smallest area that you could possibly, like, I don't have a 2-word concept.
Oh, see, I love it because I love trying to boil it down to. So, like, I wrote Renegade Profiler. Like, I love trying to be like, yeah, like Gentleman Barbarian, trying to boil it down to what is my character? Stupid Lion Man.
All right, got him.
Okay. So now that we've got sort of well, the next thing on the list, for at least for the book's sake, is motivations, which is what got your character to start traveling in time and space. But I think we've all sort of have a good idea of, like, especially since we came up with the I came up with the concept of all of you are investigators.
Mm-hmm.
But it is sort of like your like it's personality traits, ideals, goals, bonds. So I think the next one would be there is a option for where is it? Group motivations.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, let me
Ooh.
see if I can find that. No, not equipment. Though we will get to equipment because I would probably give you guys. I will give you guys one magic item each. Oh, there it is. If you on page 32, there is example
Oh,
of connections. So
connections.
you guys can all uh pick your own connections if you would like, or if you guys want to do it like because I'm figuring that the way I see it is that Soup, you and Andy sort of were working together, and then you basically picked up Garrett.
I think that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I thought, let me see, let me look at this table of contents because I thought there was one for party motivations. Oh, doo. Oh, I think that's more of a there is a little subsection I think at the end for party goals
Okay, I
because
was
you
gonna.
have like personal goals and you have party goals for your characters, which
Yeah, there's also a 10 questions thing at the towards the end of this, and it's one of them is why are you traveling with the Time Lord, or well, it
yeah.
says the Doctor. So that could be the
Yeah, I think there is sort of at least an assumption, at least on this game's part, or I guess for anybody playing like Doctor Who, is that you are probably they want you they think you're going to be like playing as like companions to the Doctor, where that's not always the case. Like
Yeah.
we've had just ideas where it's just the Doctor doesn't have to be in it, episodes where Doctor has to be in it. Like I said, I listen to a lot of audio dramas. They have audio dramas where the Doctor doesn't show up and all. It's all sort of secondary characters who get more of the limelight and just have fun adventures, playing with, or just, being on their own, investigating alien stuff and all that. So you guys can look over the 10 questions, and then if you want to answer any, you can always answer them yourselves, or you can text me about it and all that.
okay.
But then next on the list. Uh, oh, did we ever decide if we were going to do were we doing point buy after all that?
Oh yeah, are we doing point by or roll? What did we decide?
We'll probably not roll.
2d6 straight down.
No.
Oh god. Okay, let's just do point by. It sounds like we're doing point by. So let me just
Okay.
crank
Yeah.
intelligence. Let's just get some whiz.
All right,
So
we're
you all
doing
do your
by.
point buys, because then we're going to we will do hit points, or as I should say, plot points.
Okay. Ugh. Okay, good. They've got like a guide in each of the classes. That's what I always look for on like D&D Beyond is like what should I be dumping these points into?
Yeah, that's the other thing about having 6 classes for 6 attributes is that, well, this is the wisdom class. Give yourself all the wisdom.
Hmm. That certainly makes a lot of sense.
What did you say we get, Liz? Is it's 2, 1, and 1 to be?
For
scores?
Time Lords, yeah, you get where is it? Ah, you're making me scroll. Go back.
Okay, we can do a custom race type.
Yes. Yeah. I panicked for a second.
Uh, where are you, Timothy Dalton? There you are. So yeah, for ability score increases, you may raise one ability score by 2, and then 2 ability scores by 1.
Okay.
Time Lords tend to put those, I think, in either intelligence, wisdom, and charisma, but you can put them anywhere you want. You also get to choose one skill or tool, and you have proficiency with that skill or tool. Uh, you're they also have something called tech levels, which everything is broken down into levels 1 through 10, 1 being like the Stone Age, 10 being basically Time Lords. You're a hyper advanced, technological, advanced civilization that has access to time travel, which you're all level 10. And then, like I said, you have telepathy, which is at first level, you can use the message cantrip, basically. And then third level, you get augury, detect thoughts, sending spells, require no components, but you must complete a long rest after you use it. Same thing with message. Oh, and at 10th level, you get to cast modify memory with no components, but I think it's only one time before you have to use a long rest for it. So it doesn't. Telepathy does make you sleepy. And like I said, if you want to sort of mix and match and like you can always take away your telepathy and vortex sensitivity and replace it with a feat. Because they have some cool feats, including like clairvoyant. Uh, you could be empathetic psychic. So instead of like a regular psychic,
That does fit
So
a little
I
bit.
decided to use Cece's inspiration of Gordon Ramsay and came up with the name of Ramgord.
okay, Garrett,
The Time Lord Ramgor.
Ramgord.
Hey, it's Ramgord, dude.
Is that all one word, or is it like a
Uh-huh.
hyphenated type of thing?
No,
Okay.
no, all one word.
Is there an apostrophe in there somewhere?
There's a tilde over the R.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's just literally like, yep, dump. Oh, okay. Yeah. Yep, just dump it all into wisdom. What are you doing? I'm like, wanna have a secondary act there? That's no?
Nope.
Okay.
The game's very clear. You wanna dump it all into one because you have your one niche.
What do
Hopefully
I
you're
do with
playing
the
with
rest
more.
of these points?
Let me look up how you do hit points or plot points, as I should say.
I think it's your constitution,
Yeah,
at
it's still
least
your
for me.
constitution. So yeah, you can dump it all into constitution and have a ton of plot points.
I guess so.
Or I
I was
guess
trying to see if this, like, the secondary class would want anything.
I went
Or,
the
like, the
216
subclass.
route because I figured I'm going to need the charisma as a charmer, but I went with constitution because tasting all of these things, I'd have to be pretty hardy, right?
It's true.
Yeah.
yeah.
And if you've been out there a while, you've built a
Mhm.
tough skin.
Yeah.
I went too far. Oh,
Oh no,
giving
I've
myself
gone
a
too far.
headache. Okay, here we go. Does detective need anything?
It looks like you get all your stuff at third, or you start getting your stuff at third level.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, and I can use intelligence instead of charisma. That's useful. For social interactions.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I pretty much just went. Where did it go? Yeah, yeah, 2 16s in intelligence and wisdom, and then everything else is just kind of okay.
You don't need it.
Yeah, you know what? Let me put it in plot points. Oh no, that's one extra. Did I?
Yeah, so I will also tell you guys about the like the battle the combat system or the non-existent combat system. So in the original role-playing game, they didn't have like an initiative type. Instead,
Mm-hmm.
everyone at the start of combat would or I guess they call it conflict in this. Instead of rolling like any sort of initiative, every player would say uh, what they're doing. So everything's broken down into talkers, doers, attackers. And players always go first no matter what. Like NPCs are always second. So each
Mm-hmm.
player would declare like, "Oh, I'm going to talk this out." The next player would say, "I'm going to do something." And then the next player would say, or if one player says they're going to talk, one player says they're going to do something, and one player is going to attack. Talkers always go first, then doers, which doing is sort of any action that isn't like physically assaulting someone. So if you're like trying to turn on a machine or if you're trying to do something like press buttons or write something down, you're a doer. Attackers, you're attacking someone. You attackers are always last. Because again,
Mm-hmm.
this is Doctor Who. This is you're using your words to try to convince people to stop doing the evil thing they're trying to do. It won't work, or it very rarely works, but you're making an effort, so you always get to go first. You always do the non-violent thing rather than the violent thing. So don't worry about like putting anything, I guess, unless your class wants it into like uh initiative or anything like that. Unless you guys want to do the standard D20 initiative, which they give as an option.
I think the other one sounds more interesting, but
Yeah, yeah.
like the
I'm
like
down
the
for
yeah,
it.
the custom way.
Okay.
Okay. I think I got my states.
Ooh.
My states.
Okay.
Okay, okay. So we've built our characters. We have our species. We have our subclasses. We have our backgrounds. We can fill in what quips and things your classes get at a later date.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, does anyone have anything they want to bring up or talk about?
I want a sonic
Any other?
screwdriver. They're
I
broke.
will say
They're broken. And I
they
want one.
are. I will say they do give you a list of equipment you can use. I will let you guys have one magic bullshit item each, but they have to be uncommon or common.
Okay, that's fair.
Nothing very rare or rare. Which does
What
give
is
you a lot of.
rarity to a Time Lord, though? No, I'm just kidding.
So I can't have the elixir of life. Fine.
No, you can't have the elixir of life. I looked at that and I was like, no, you're not having that.
Fine.
You can have a data pad and you're gonna like it.
Oh, yeah, well,
Is there some kind of spoon or ladle or
Ooh.
spatula?
You can have a long scarf. You can have a jetpack that will theme as like a spoon.
there's a special pen.
Get what? Oh, there is a sonic screwdriver type. You can have a sonic spoon or a super phone. You can have a super spoon phone.
Okay.
Okay. Oh, you know what?
Psychic.
I forgot the most important thing, which is you get to build your own time machine.
Oh yeah, the whole point.
The whole point of the show is the time machine. Hang on, let me find the pages for it.
Psychic paper is also uncommon, and psychic paper is pretty cool.
It
is
is pretty
pretty cool.
cool.
I think
so
I would take psychic paper over a sonic screwdriver if I had to pick.
And for reference, Garrett, the psychic paper is basically a blank piece of paper that has like this like little mental field where whoever sees it will it will show like whatever the holder says. So if you say you're a detective with the government, it will show and says you're a detective with the government, and the person believes you.
It'll be like it's like the proper credentials you need for whatever situation it is.
Oh,
Yeah.
I see. Yeah, I was just looking at the clothes spray, and I'm like, oh, that'd be nice to have. Just spray yourself on a different look.
So we'll go over time machines.
Okay.
So obviously you all being Time Lords, you do have access to a TARDIS. What your TARDIS looks like and because different TARDISes have different types, like the Doctor travels in a Type 40 TARDIS, which is considered an older model and sort of defunct, but you know, she gets from point A to point B most of the time. And so every TARDIS is equipped with a perception filter, and you guys get to decide what that perception is.
Man, it's so hard to not. It's like it's a police box. Like I can't think of anything else that's like it's like just so perfect. Like it's just the right size. Like I don't know. Like I can't like I don't want to be like phone booth one because that's Bill and Ted, and it's two clearly referencing the police box. Like so I don't even know.
Because TARDISes do come in all shapes and sizes. Like they said, the perception filter makes it so that each one's like it's supposed to change with each environment, so it doesn't like stand out. Though, of course, the Doctor's is always broken and just stays a police box for most of the run. There is a couple times where the Doctor technically fixed it, but it didn't always stick.
Well, and the Master's TARDIS looks like a column, right?
Times like his perception filter actually works. So sometimes it's a column, sometimes it's a big clock, a big grandfather clock.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
That is cool.
There was one Time Lord, I think, who had a car. It was like it was like a souped up 1950s car.
So would we all be in one, or would we get one individually?
Say you're all gonna be in one,
Okay.
just for sake of ease.
Oh, for sure. I was just trying to figure out, is this a group activity?
It's a group activity. Technically, you're supposed to have like multiple pilots for a TARDIS. It's bigger on the inside for a reason.
So is this where we get our name Turtle?
Is it just a big turtle?
Oh my! Is it like one of those turtle sandboxes that we all had as a kid?
My mom
It
just
still
bought
has
for
the
my
sand in it?
little niece.
I mean, I'm into it, but and then okay, so it's
You
got
lift up the little lid.
I was going to say
and
the
then
little
go-
shell, and then you climb out of it. Yes. I will not play unless we do this.
Just have sand all over you.
You gotta like brush yourself off.
God. Yeah, just a ladder. Push up it's like a submarine.
Yeah. Yep.
I'm just imagining it spinning through space like the TARDIS.
It's just a flat green plastic lifeless turtle screaming through space.
Although I think the eyes on it could be like, we could modernize it so the eyes actually
like googly eyes.
Yeah, googly eyes. Yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna write it down.
Wow. We've come up with a lot of very stupid things throughout the history of this channel. That might be the best, stupidest thing we've ever come up with.
Oh my god.
That's so dumb.
Well, it's in.
Oh, great team effort, everybody. Oh my god.
We did it. And we're right on time, too.
Oh my gosh. If we ever end up playing these characters on the overlay, I'm absolutely gonna put one of those fucking plastic turtles on there. If I can find a gif of one spinning,
I was
even
gonna say, it
better.
would only be better if it just slowly bounced around the screen like a Windows screensaver.
Oh, yes.
Oh my god, my face hurts.
Jay, I need you to 3D model us real quick. A turtle. Oh my gosh. Ooh.
Like, is the layout of the inside like a Star Trek kind of bridge setup?
So,
No.
in general, like, a TARDIS is basically a big round room with the control center in the middle with a big pillar that sort of has like a little platform that moves up and down to simulate in very British cheap engineering. It's just like a little pulley that goes up and down to signal it's moving.
But there's usually like a bunch of rooms in the TARDIS. You just never... They'll reference them, but you never really see any of them. You only ever really see the control room, and then they'll be like, oh, there's a swimming pool. And it's like, well, it would be nice if we saw the swimming pool.
Yeah, and when you do see it, it's just like another nondescript room with like a bed in it that apparently two companions sleep in at the same time.
And it'll often be like it'll be like they clearly like green screened the regular control room set and like zoomed into part of it, so that's just the background of it, and then they put like a hanger and a bed or something like that, and it's just like, it's another room of the TARDIS, and it's like, this looks, why is everyone floating in this weird void?
Awesome, that's perfect. It's a round room for the center of the turtle,
Mm-hmm.
and we each
Oh.
have our own paw room to sleep in.
You all sleep in the little fins.
Yeah, front right, front left, back right, back left.
The head is how we look out.
Yeah, you gotta look up past the Google eye. It's like bouncing.
Great. I love it. Ship it.
Yep. Done. Print. We're done. We ended on a high note.
I love it.
Oh gosh.
I feel like I'm gonna be disappointed if I go watch Doctor Who episodes now.
Oh,
It's so good.
that's gonna raise some questions in the Discord chat.
They should be watching.
All right.
Oh,
Is
boy.
anything? Anybody want to top that or bring anything else up before we go?
If you'd like to see more from the four of us plus others, Dragon Lords is on Sunday.
Yep.
And then Gracefall is next Wednesday. Thank you so much, Liz. This was a bunch of fun.
Yes, thank you so much.
Thank you for playing with me. I've been wanting to try out this game for a while, so I'm glad we all did it together.
I'm glad for the excuse to watch Doctor Who episodes again because I didn't realize how much I missed that show.
Aw.
Same.
And it came just in time because I was looking for something to watch. So
That's good. I've just been watching random British murder mysteries, and I think I'm going to start watching The Crown with my mom, so...
The Crown is good. It is good.
it's pretty good.
Yeah, and you got a whole year to catch up, so you can watch the 60th anniversary when it comes up.
Yeah.
Way too long. Just way too long. I'll be caught up by then, probably. Yeah. I only have to
it's
watch
like-
8. How many episodes did you say there were, Carrie? 578?
I thought it was 800 and something.
852? Yeah.
852?
Yeah.
Is that
Most-
an hour each or?
No, back in the day, Doctor Who was like a half-hour like adventure serial. So there's like each story, like technically it's broken down into stories. Like each story is like 5 or 6 episodes, half hour at a time.
Okay.
They get really repetitive. I'm not gonna lie, and it's hard to watch it like constantly because it's like, oh yeah, you're supposed to watch this in 30-minute chunks once a week for 72 weeks or whatever.
Right, and like a soap opera, like the first like couple minutes are like a recap of what happened last time.
Mhm.
But like
I gotcha.
in the show. But yeah, like the first Doctor's in like 140 something episodes or something crazy. Like
Oh gosh.
It sounds like if you do one episode a day, you'll be done in a little over a year. Or is it 2 years?
So
well,
No, you do. So do 2 episodes a day.
if you do 2 episodes a day, you'd be done in a year. Yeah.
done in a little
Yeah.
over a year. Yeah.
Or
Yeah.
to keep a stupid joke we have on this stream, almost a year. I don't know why, but Jay, that's from Graceful. Well, like I'll say how many weeks someone has been subscribed, and no matter how long it is, Jay will say it's almost a year, even though it's been like 3 years at this point. That's almost
Because
a year.
I think it's because it's listed in month. Like it's
Right,
always
yeah,
listed in
like
months.
68 or 72 months or whatever it is. It's just like that's almost
Yeah.
a year. And is it between hawk and bat size? Our
I mean, that's a
inexplic-
classic.
Our inexplicable jokes. This turtle is between hawk and bat size.
yes,
On the inside, it is also.
Yes, it hurtles through space.
A turtle hurtling through space.
Instead of engaged, that's our command word. Hurdle.
Hurdle.
So it's Hurdle the Turtle.
Hurdle the turtle. Our TARDIS.
There we go.
Hurdle the turtle. That's an artist. Yeah. Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Bye.
See you later. Hopefully.